Let's further discuss the Russia-US agreement on ridding Syria of chemical weapons with Richard Becker. He's anti-war activist with the International Answer Coalition, who joins me live now from San Francisco. Richard, a lot seems to have been achieved in a very little time. People, of course, will be asking, why on earth hasn't any of this been achieved before now?
Well, I think that we can see that the U.S. government very quickly grabbed at the opportunity to find a way out of a very contradictory situation. And we should recall that just 2 weeks ago, it looked like military action was imminent. We were in the streets that day. We had been expecting that the Obama administration, that President Obama would be announcing that day that military strikes were taking place. Instead, he announced that he was going to Congress. And when that didn't work, and in fact, he and Secretary of State Kerry became more and more isolated, they jumped at the opportunity to find a way, at least temporarily, out of this situation when Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov made the proposal on Monday. So they want to very quickly put this on the back burner at this point. Despite all the bluster and kind of arrogant talk that we hear from Secretary of State Kerry, they suffered a very serious setback in what their plans were to go to war, to launch military strikes against Syria, and now have moved very quickly to try to have some resolution of this issue, as I say, at least on a temporary basis.
And here's Obama just very recently making a tough stand by saying, even after these very, very delicate and intense negotiations, saying, look, if they don't comply, we will resort to military intervention. Well, how helpful is that sort of talk after it's already been agreed, as I say, after very, very tough negotiations?
Well, I think that that's actually more of the spin to try to protect the image of the president and of the administration, trying to look tough. Well, they tried to look tough, and they found themselves extremely isolated because of the tremendous opposition to a new U.S. war in the Middle East from around the world and from inside the United States. Very pervasive opposition to this, and they, despite all the propaganda, the huge PR effort that they wheeled out beginning about 3 weeks ago, they were unable to shift that or to break down that opposition. So really, this was a kind of a great opportunity presented to them, what Sergey Lavrov presented last Monday. But at the same time as wanting to grasp it very quickly, they also do not want to look weak. But clearly they want out of a very difficult and very contradictory situation that they found themselves in.
But none of this is actually going to end the conflict, is it? More innocent people are going to die, and the end goal is for a peaceful settlement in Syria. And yet, despite the cooperation we've seen between Russia and Moscow, there are major divisions over that ultimate goal, aren't there?
Oh, yes, there are major. And, you know, the United States policy consists of different elements, which include the sanctions, which hurt the people there, arming and funding, training the so-called Free Syrian Army, and coordinating the intervention of other countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, in this war against the government of Syria. And because really what the objective of the United States is to bring about regime change, regardless of the fact that they've been deterred from an immediate military strike, that remains their objective, clearly is their objective.
All right.
And clearly the opposition in, Syria.
You're talking about the opposition there.
Is opposed to this agreement.
Exactly.
They oppose this agreement because they can't win without without U.S. intervention.
So is it really seriously significant that the Free Syrian Army, for example, have rejected this initiative to rid Assad of the chemical weapons? Will that be a major stumbling block or not?
Well, I don't think that we know. I mean, I think that they want the agreement to fail. They didn't want the agreement at all, and for the reason that I was just referring to is that they cannot win, they cannot achieve victory without the intervention of the U.S. And perhaps its other NATO allies, they do not have the capacity on their own to win, and that's why they were so ardently hoping for military strikes, massive military strikes by the United States against the government forces.
Richard Becker, thank you very much indeed. Anti-war activist and member of the steering committee for the International Answer Coalition, live on RT. Great to hear your thoughts. Thank you.